Racing here in the Principality of Monaco for round 6 of season 7. I am your commentator today, Jackson, and alongside me is the one and only Brendan. Hello.
Hello there. So we're here for Monte Carlo, obviously the jewel in the Formula One calendar, according to a lot of people. Obviously, some people might say it isn't, but for a lot of people, it still is. At the moment, we are a couple of instants qualifying with Legend with a 109.9 to kick things off. That is at the front of the grid.
Yeah, Legend, I think fair to say the favourite for pole today. He's going into today's race with the world record lap time on time trial. Of course, time trial not always entirely representative, but I mean, it's certainly not a bad thing to be going to qualifying with the world record around a track because, I mean, he's shown immense speed throughout the season so far. He hasn't had the attendance and the luck necessarily to be up right at the top of the championship so far this season, but he's seen and he's proven in previous seasons that he is an absolutely amazing driver. And I mean, I think we could have a boring race today because he'll be so dominant, but in a way that makes it not boring because we get to see such an amazing performance that not everyone's going to get to the chance to see. So it's going to be really impressive, I think. And if that isn't the case, I think we're going to have a great race, maybe a battle up front, which around Monaco isn't necessarily common, but it's always possible because this track so often will create drama with the close ones, as we've already seen in qualifying, a couple of retirements already. It really is all up for grabs for all the drivers in the field today because it is a track where absolutely anything can happen and often does. Yes, I'm very excited to be here this week. You may notice that Evan is not here. Sadly, he's busy tonight, so he won't be able to commentate. So I'll be his replacement for the night. But don't worry, he'll be back next week. So you get to hear his wonderful voice again in a week's time for the next round of the Formula Virtual season. But tonight, it is Monaco, and that is what we're here for. An exciting race, hopefully. But we'll have to wait and see as these drivers now make their way out onto the racetrack for their second qualifying runs. And as Brendan said, Legend currently topping the timesheets with a 109.916.
Legend's on a second run here at the moment, so he's heading up Massenet towards Casino Square. Looking very, very smooth. He needs the high gears to improve traction. He's just over a tenth up in this first sector, so already looking nice, and that could be already surpassing the FVRA pole time of 109.7 for obviously FVRA takes place on Friday evenings at 8:30, so do make sure to have a look at it, and if you do want to join, please message the Formula Virtual Racing Academy account.
Yeah, FVRA is a great series, really, because it gives us an idea of what's going to happen in the FVR race the next day. And also, a lot of the FVR guys will be in the FVRA race, so it gives you a good idea, as there has been a crash on the racetrack, as Jeroen Muller has got a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with, was that Juan that he's had a crash with? I'm also going to have to learn the names again, sorry.
Jeroen has he's got 5-place grid penalty, and he has lost a front wing, so
that's not the start you'd want.
There must have been a misunderstanding here.
Yeah, that's strange. We have seen that in the past, where, especially around a track like this, where it's such a tight circuit that someone might try to get out of the way, but maybe do it slightly too late, or will sort of maybe have a bit of a snap when trying to do it and just slightly block someone. And because of most of the corners here being so blind, the driver behind going at full speed may not have the chance to react, and as we can see here, it has clearly ended in some form of collision. But yeah, meanwhile, Legend up at the front now at a 109.3, so 4 attempts up on the pole time in FVRA. As what's happened now?
Legend, he clipped the inside of the entry to the New chicane. So it's always one of them kind of little mistakes where you think, oh, how did that happen? But it's in a case you Monaco being one of them circuits where you're fully on the limit. You're probably just trying to shave off as much distance as possible, and by what Legend tried to do there, just probably a little too much.
Yeah, it's one of those tracks where it's very easy to make those sorts of mistakes, as you say. But one of the most important things is when you do make that sort of mistake, you have to refresh yourself. You need to really rewind to what you know you can do, because once you make that first mistake, it's so easy to sort of repeat that over and over and over again, because the walls are always so close. You can never relax, and the rhythm of a driver is so important around here, and as soon as something like a small mistake like Legend had interrupts that rhythm, from then on it can be really tough for some of these drivers to get back into that. And that's sort of one of the most important abilities of a driver, is that when you do make those sorts of mistakes, is to bounce back quickly and recover quickly without sort of having any further problems, because once you have that first mistake, if you then make a second, a third, that's when it really starts to become really hard to recover from. So Legend now will have to try and refresh himself in the pits, get ready, and put together another impressive lap, because, well, that 1:09.3 at the top of the times at the moment, very, very impressive. So if he can do anything like that again, I think it's fair to say he will have refound that form he had earlier in the session and put himself back on the front foot going into the race today.
Yeah, so 109.3, extremely impressive as that is. Well, that's miles clear anyone else, and well, obviously Legend in the pits at the moment. Others going out for outlaps here. Some people like to do 4 runs here at Monaco because, well, you have the time to do it, and you want to give yourself every opportunity to get up the grid, because it's all about track position here.
Juan Hernandez is on a lap at the moment, making his way through to back and into the swimming pool section. He's 4 tenths up on his previous best lap time, so it's gone very well for the Ferrari driver so far. Nearly hits the wall there, going out of the swimming pool section, now into Raskas and now through Anthony Nose. Let's see, will this lap be as good as it could be here for Juan Hernandez? He's going to come out of the final corner, across the line now, goes up into 8th place. There's been a crash there, and is that... Oh, that's Jake Marsh.
He's crashed Raskas.
Let's go on board here with Bune to see if we can see what's happened here. I think he's going to try and let a car through. Who's that? That's the Red Bull. Jake's car sadly disappeared, but, well, that's not what the Ferrari driver would have wanted. Whilst his teammate was putting in such an impressive lap, Jake Marsh has crashed out at Larascas there. So yeah, that's bad news for the Ferrari team. Of course, the reigning Constructors champions, that pairing of Jake Marsh and Juan Hernandez, I believe. So those two looking to try and back that up this season, and that isn't what you want around Monaco. It's one of the worst, if not the worst track to be starting further back down the order, so tough day in store for Jake Marsh, as he will be at best 16th for today's race.
Yeah, honestly, you don't want to be down there for Monaco. It means you've got a lot to try and make your way through, and any sort of overtake is just going to be a huge hassle for you.
As I can now see, Vesta is on a lap and he's going very slowly through the tunnel here. I believe he was on a flying lap. I could be mistaken though.
Backed off, I think.
But yeah, he's definitely backed off if he was on a flying lap here. As we've got Legend still in the pits.
It's Tyler here.
In the pits.
Tyler is about to finish a lap here. He is improving. He could go up to 4th, or it's 2nd.
Wow, very nice lap there for the Rebel driver, and that matches his pole time from the FVR race yesterday, so very strong lap for the Rebel man. Still 4 tenths up the road there to Legend, so gonna need some improvement if he wants to try and compete for that pole position. But I think it's fair to say at the moment Legend is a bit of a class of his own, so it could well be a battle for that 2nd position, but you never know what could happen. So I think Tyler, maybe there's 4 tenths in the lap. It's a fairly short circuit, it's a hard track to find 4 tenths in, but I'm sure he'll give it his best go here as the Rebel driver looks to get it on pole, of course. Backing up that pole from the FVRA race would be a very impressive weekend for him. Whilst talking there, Leroy has retired in the pit lane, I believe. So he's not going to get out again in the session. We now see Lightning Luke is making his way in to the Nouvelle chicane there, comes out of it towards the back. Now, is he on a flying lap? It looks like he's very low on ERS, so I doubt he is here. Let's see what he is through the middle sector, and yeah, he's down quite comfortably, so yeah, he's not on a lap. Aaron McFall has gone out onto an outlap now, so he's going to get ready to go. He's going to let a car through here as he makes his way up the top of the hill.
Well, actually, do remember, we have Junior here in the AlphaTauri. He is, as he's into the pits now, but he's had some very good qualifying performances here at Monte Carlo. Hasn't quite worked out in the race, but he clearly has speed around this track, so it'll be interesting to see where he does end up.
Yeah, currently sitting 12th, but it's very, very close in that midfield fight. If you look sort of, especially when you compare it to the leaders, it's quite a big gap to that midfield bunch. But then within that midfield bunch, it's really, really close. So a tenth or two of an improvement, and you're going to jump 2 or 3 places. Which, of course, as we said, around Monaco, every position matters so crucially, especially for lap 1 here, because quite often the further you are down the order, the more cars that could well have an incident in front of you that could collect you on that opening lap of the race. Because with such tight barriers around here, if there is a collision, it's quite likely that cars are going to get caught up in it. So the further back you are, the more chance of being caught up in an incident like that. Whereas if you're in the top 5, you can sort of have faith and trust the drivers around you to be perhaps a bit more careful and avoid those sorts of incidents. But when you do get further down the order, into that mid-pack, it really is a free-for-all entirely, and absolutely anything can happen back there. So it'll be a nervy start to the race if some of these drivers do have to start in that midfield pack. But I would say some of these guys, like Kyle Albert, who had a qualifying ban for today's race, that could almost be a blessing in disguise here, because that means he can take it that little bit easier on lap when he doesn't have to worry, because the difference between 19th and 18th or 17th on lap 1 around Monaco isn't that big of a difference. But that mentality going into that first lap of the race, he can take that carefully, he can avoid the collisions, he doesn't have to push 100%. He can go at 75% on lap 1 and still be right with the pack without much of a worry. And he won't have anyone behind him probably to be contesting against him, so he won't have to defend. He can just take it easily as he would sort of drive without any sort of worry of being involved in a lap 1 crash. And if there is an incident in front of him, he picks up a few positions, and if there isn't, he doesn't really lose anything. So it's weird to say sort of starting last could be a benefit, but I think it's definitely probably a better position to be starting in 19th than it is to be starting arguably in 15th, 16th, in that sort of area of the grid. That's where you're very boxed in and could easily get caught up in something that maybe had nothing to do with you in the first place. As in the meantime, we have had a few changes in the timings.
Aaron's up to second.
Yes, very strong lap there. Of course, Aaron has put in some good performances around here in the past. But yes, he's closed that gap down a little bit. 3 tenths is now the gap between the top 2 in this session. Legend, I believe, is on the lap at the moment, so let's see. He's just started it. Let's see where he goes in this qualifying session up the hill. Let's see now, turning left as he makes his way towards Casino Square, and then back down the hill he goes. Avoids the bump on the left, takes a bit more than you perhaps see in real life, and now into Mirabeau. He's 7 milliseconds up in the first sector. A bit of a snap there as he makes his way in to the Fairmont hairpin. Throws the car through there, and quite a high gear on this game. And now through Lower Mirabeau, and now Portier. Now we come up to one of the 2 somewhat straights on this Monaco circuit. A brief chance to relax as he turns right through the tunnel now, making his way towards the Nouvelle chicane. What can Legend do? Brakes heavily as late as possible. He turns in, takes all the curb and too much as he invalidates the lap there at the Nouvelle chicane. And Legend will not improve, so the eyes turn to the others in this field. Aaron, he has invalidated as well. Tyler is yet to invalidate, but he is only in Sector 1. So let's see what the Rebel driver can do as he makes his way down into Mirabeau, and he is improving.
Key here is to get the lap in. And obviously then, maybe in his second, he could jump Legend off the line. That happened to Legend in Season 5, where he got pole, but was immediately jumped by the AlphaTauris, and it ended up costing him his race in the end. So Tyler is not too bad.
Let's see what Tyler does through the second sector, and he is purple provisionally according to the game, not always a believable source, but he's a 10th up and he sends it through that chicane. The speed he took through there was unbelievable as he now makes his way into Larascas and now through Anthony Nose. Let's see, what can Tyler do? DRS open, making his way towards the start finish line. Can he get onto the front row? He does. Second place on the grid for Tyler Davison. Good lap there for the British driver, and he puts himself in pole position of the rest of the field, looking to try and beat Legend today. Legend on pole position by just 2 tenths at the end of the session, with Tyler in second and Aaron McFall in third place. Then you've got Vesta Gabbardi and Lewis McWilliam rounding out the top 5 ahead of Luke Davies. Then Juan Hernandez followed up by, let me check the name, sorry. by Teo Marinov. Then it is Leroy Chloe Glennon rounds out the top 10 for the Williams team, as she put in a very strong performance in the FVR race, getting, I believe, 5th place in the end. So starting 10th today, she could certainly do something from there, scoring some points for the Williams team. So that would be certainly one to watch in today's race, because there's going to be a lot of things to keep an eye on today. Whilst certain battles for positions might not be as exciting as they possibly could be, we sort of have to look at the bigger picture in a race like Monaco, because the drama that can happen here can have big implications, especially further down the championship. Some guys that are sort of starting further down the order, and perhaps people that have struggled to get points this season, could have a really good race here today, purely because of the high attrition rate around the circuit. Because a lot of top guys might sort of push the limit a little bit too far, end up making a mistake, crashing out of the race, and that will give an opportunity to some of the guys that perhaps have had more of a struggle so far this season, and that could certainly open up some opportunities for drivers that are looking just for sort of the minor points paying positions, maybe looking to try and break into the top 10, break into the top 8, and maybe if there is high attrition, we could see someone that's perhaps struggled for points so far this season get up into the top 5, which is a huge, huge swing for a driver who perhaps is having a slightly tougher season than what others have had. But yeah, drivers are on the grid now and getting ready for the formation lap for today's race. Brendan would like to run us through which tyres everyone will be starting on today.
I will happily do that. So it is very much medium to most of the grid, medium to the top 2. Aaron like to start us off, so you'll be thinking, if I can get a good start and maybe an early pit stop, I could effectively do what I did in season 5, which was pit at the end of lap 1 and go to the end. And by doing so, I was able to win the race. Then it's mediums for Vesta, Lewis, Luke, Juan, Theo, Leroy, Chloe, Borbune, Seb, Gift, and Sip, although I will get his name there in a moment. T-Bone like to start the softs, probably thinking same idea, getting to position lap 1. Jake taking the hards. He's gone with the other idea of going long and maybe hoping for a bit of luck and just being away from others. And then it'd be mediums for Jerome, Thomas and Kyle. Obviously Thomas and Kyle had qualifying bans, so that is the reason why they are down so far. But it might mean that, look, you've not got much to lose, so you can afford to take it a little easier. And I hope you might be able to gain a few places and move on from there.
Indeed, yeah, it's going to be an exciting start to this race. Got the battle to be the leader down into turn 1, and Aaron really throwing a spanner in the works there by picking the soft tyres for this start. It will be certainly an exciting launch off the line there, as we see some drivers warming up their tyres in, let's say, creative ways as they park their cars on the grid. This will be the 7th ever Monaco Grand Prix here in Formula Virtual Racing, one of 2 tracks to feature on the calendar in every single season, the other being Silverstone. So a track with a long history in FVR, and today will add to that long history as the drivers now are putting the last couple of cars in position, as we've got an AlphaTauri that was quite a bit behind the field, just lining up into their position now. We can look up to the front of the grid. We're going to get ready to see the 5 red lights here as we await them. They're coming on at the front of the field. All 5 lights are on, and we are racing in Monaco. Can Legend get a good enough start? Looks like he's got a decent launch off the line, and he has indeed got a great start as he will lead Tyler into turn 1. Avesta's jumped up into 3rd. Aaron has lost 2 places off the line immediately there. There is some sort of incident further down the field, as the field has been backed up quite a bit.
Been caught up in something there. I think Leroy has been caught up.
Oh yeah, he's dropped down the order massively here. And he must have had some sort of problem, as you can see here, these drivers. Oh, and he's nearly crashed there. Big save.
Oh god, there is a huge crash.
Oh, there's a massive crash. Seb Mills has spun coming down the hill and lost his entire front wing there. The Williams driver spins the car back around. And there is the inevitable lap 1 drama here in Monaco. But up at the front, Legend pulling away immediately from the line. And T-Bone Dean's retired. Where's that happened then?
That's happened on Lower Marylebone. It's the weirdest crash I've ever seen.
That's, of course, famously where... Oh, that is... Wow. That sounded sort of pleased. That's not what I meant that wow to sound like. But that is shock at how he's crashed there. And that is an unusual place to crash at. Of course, that corner Michael Schumacher crashed at in 1996 in those very famously slippy conditions. But that's an odd way to crash there for T-Bone Dean. Certainly creative, I'll give him that. But up at the front, Legend is going to lead lap one of the race here as Aaron has pit already. Is he going to do the strategy that he famously pulled off in Season 5 here today? Started on the soft. What compound will he go to? And does he have any front wing damage? Let's wait and see here.
Well, he didn't have the best of start despite his good tyre. They didn't have damage given his stop. I think he's basically putting all his eggs in one basket here. And looks like for now he's come out in clear air. Oh, that's...
Sorry to interrupt you there. Has he lost the front wing? Let's see. It looks like it's actually in one piece still. It could of course be damage that we can't see. But is that more yellow flags out there? That looks like a glitch, sadly. Yeah, that's a real troublesome first few laps here for Leroy, as he's had some problems. But yeah, that's Monaco for you, isn't it? It's a really crazy start to this race. Down in 17th now. And Aaron McFall, he might have thought, doing this strategy, he'd get a bit of clear air, but he's only 2.5 seconds less than that behind the next car ahead of him. So he is going to have to probably do some overtaking if he wants to make this stint work. And does the Haas in front of him have some damage? Because he is catching this Haas car very, very quickly and no visible damage to the car. But Aaron reeling in quickly to the Haas car in front of him as the fast lap of the race on lap 2 goes to Legend Rosenberg. He leads the way here in Monaco ahead of Tyler Davison and Avesta Gabbardi in third place, the championship leader, looking today to just bring home a solid group of points and not lose too much to Legend in the championship.
Yep, that is the aim for him at this time, as he's got a 23.8 to Aaron McFall. Aaron McFall has pitted, as we see before, and he is past Juan, who is the name of a new Haas driver for today. And so it's position for Aaron, and he can now focus on closing up the gap. And even if he does catch someone, it'll more likely than not, it would be his teammate who would probably be willing to help him out in that instance.
Yeah, you'd imagine in that scenario that they would let him through. You'd imagine so. You wouldn't think that they would risk that, but I don't know, maybe they don't have communications between the two drivers. I mean, it's an 8-second gap, so he's got some time to think about it, I suppose. But yeah, Aaron going with this bold strategy, the one that we've seen him pull off in the past. He's going for it again. So far he's made one overtake on this stint, didn't lose too much time from it by the looks of things, but he's got some work to do if he wants to try and take victory here today in Monte Carlo. But Aaron, keeping this race nice and spicy for us, trying something different as he sends it over the curbs. He is not holding back in that Alfa Romeo car, but up at the front, Legend pulling that gap to 1.9 seconds to Tyler, nearly 2 seconds already. But Avesta keeping the pressure on the Rebel driver, not going to let him rest in this race. But still some steady gaps between each of the drivers, as the first sort of real gap we see in the field, other than the gap between first and second, is 5th and 6th. That is Luke Davies to Juan Hernandez in the Ferrari. Those two have sort of grown apart a little bit. Maybe just how the lap 1 played out, that might have slowed Juan down a bit. Yeah, the field from then on is quite spread out, with Chloe Lennon behind Bob Bune in 7th and 8th place there. Then you've got the 12 Tarries of Gift and your own rounding out the top 10, with Thomas Main right behind them in 11th place. At the moment, as we've got yellow flags out on the racetrack. Looks like Leroy's had a problem again. Not sure.
Not going his way here. Interesting
line. 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Not surprising, really, given that he's just taken the pit exit at racing speed. That's a puzzler there for certain. But yeah, Brendan, of course, you famously would have been there for the great Aaron victory, as we see Thomas Main into the pits, going for the hard tyres as well. But you were there, of course, on that day, I imagine, for that great victory. And what sort of the keys to victory on that day that we can sort of keep an eye out for today to see if it's possible for him to do it again?
Here's the thing. In this case, Aaron had the one big thing in his favour. Legend was caught up behind other cars because he had been jumped off the line. And in that case, it made Legend, he had a bit of damage, he couldn't really make his way back up in before he pitted. And then when he did pit, he came out behind Juan Hernandez. And since we all know Juan is very much an aggressive defender, also a very good defender, he he got stuck behind. He tried a move that was never really
Sorry,
going
I
to
think
work.
Lightning Luke's crashed. He has. Lightning Luke has crashed on the exit of the swimming pool section. He's looks like he's kept most of his front wing there, but let's see if he has to dive into the pits. That is going to lose him the position to Juan Hernandez. And Lightning Luke, sorry, Luke Davies, I should say. Sorry, I have to get used to this. Is dropped position there, and perhaps a spin or something has gone wrong here. Be interesting to see his pace over the next few laps, see if he loses any time. Has he broken that wing, or has he got away with it? Losing only one position, dropped back to where he started. That's not what Luke needed in this race.
Yeah, it pretty much took him away from that P2 group. So yeah, I suppose back to what I was saying about Aaron. In that case, well, for Luke, I feel like Legend did a few seasons ago, where you're caught behind one and you're not really going to have an easy time getting past. And if you get too frustrated, you're just going to ruin your own race. And that's the case where Legend, he's had a few poles at Monaco, but that in that case that pole wasn't converted to victory. And in the end, then Aaron was able to eventually jump the AlphaTauris, who had jumped Legend at the start. In that case, Aaron was able to just hold on, despite Brady in the AlphaTauri trying his damn best to get past.
Yeah, Chloe Glennon has got up into 7th place now in this race. She's got ahead of the Haas driver there, who's now going to defend from Gift, and then your own, the two AlphaTauris. Spoke about them in that the context of Season 5. And now they're going to go side by side up the hill almost. Wow, that's brave there, brave from Gift. He backs out of it, probably correctly. But the Haas driver must have some wing damage, as they clearly are struggling here at the moment, as Jake Marsh just sitting outside the top 10 here. On his hard compound tyres, right on the back of them though. One thing to take away though from the pit stop that Thomas Main has made, he was sitting in 11th at the time, and at that time they were about 18 seconds behind the leader. He is 11 seconds behind Aaron, which means that means Aaron at the moment is around 7 seconds behind Legend in this race, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where Aaron sits at the moment, which around at the moment would put him in 5th place, which isn't bad. That's where he was running at the end of lap 1, but he did qualify in 3rd, so maybe he would have hoped for a bit more. But of course that is going to develop across the race as everyone makes pit stops, tyre wear and all of that. And track position being so key around here, anything could happen. As we see this pack of cars make their way around the final couple of corners as Lightning is into the pits, and is changing his front wing, so there was damage there for the British driver there, and he has changed his front wing and will get back out onto the racetrack, probably around his teammate actually. I believe Thomas will come out.
I think his teammate may have him here. His teammate's definitely got him.
We'll use the place. Oh, it's a lap down car between him now actually, so it's no big worry about Leroy getting between them there. So he's going to lose a bit of time there. Wow, this pack is... Oh, that's the big send down the inside of the Fairmont hairpin. He's crashed in to Gift there, and has lost another position to the other AlphaTauri. Jake got all over the curb in that little scrap as well, so drama here, as looks like Bob Hume was getting very, very desperate going into the hairpin there, as Aaron has now got past his teammate, but Aaron, the strategy relies on him being able to just run the lap times he wants to run, but he is now in this pack of cars. Is he going to go to the inside of the back? No, he's going to stay behind Kyle Albert here as he goes through the swimming pool section, makes his way over the curbs, keeps it pinned now into this next slower part of the swimming pool. He's going to look for the move on Kyle Albert. Kyle goes very wide. Does he let him through? Oh no, they've crashed. Oh no, it's Larras crash in the penultimate corner there. And that is Aaron up into 11th place. Kyle down to 12th. A very strange incident there, as Kyle almost looked like he had let Aaron through. It was all into the wall there. That's Jake Marsh. Looks like he was trying the overtake on Borbune, but he's lost the position to Aaron now as well. They're just parting for Aaron at the moment, as he's trying to make as many overtakes as possible in as little time. Borbune is struggling.
He's losing momentum.
He goes down the inside. It's a massive send. A huge send. How has he pulled that off? That is an unbelievable overtake there. As now Borbigan's going to go down the inside of Jake Marsh in the hairpin. Jake Marsh going to try and go all the way around the outside. He gets the move done. What an overtake by Aaron McFall though. That came out of absolutely nowhere. That was outstanding. It was such a big send. That could have gone so badly wrong. But he timed it to perfection. They just barely avoided a big incident there.
Who says you can't overtake in Monaco?
Certainly not Aaron McFall, that's for sure. What a few moments there. Oh, that was truly amazing. And, well, you know that traffic we were worrying about a moment ago? Completely gone now. He's got the 12th tower, he's up ahead, but they'll probably be pitting within the next 5 laps, and they seem to have a little bit better pace than the other midfield cars at the moment. So, well, Aaron has got a couple laps to recover from that overtake there, and gives us a chance as well to recover from it. But up at the front, we've got a big train appearing in this battle for second place. I say big train, it's 3 cars on the back of, well, not on the back, in this group here, battling for second place. Tyler 7 tenths ahead of Avesta, and then Lewis a further half a second back from the Alpine. I think the pace difference between the 3 of them doesn't seem that big, so I imagine we won't see any on-track overtakes unless they sort of get wing damage or anything like that. Which I think is, it's sad. I'm going to look here to see if there's any damage to the front wing of Tyler, because he's now 7 seconds behind. And with these 2 right on his tail at the moment, there could be some potential tyre wear or potentially some damage to the Red Bull to be struggling for pace this badly. But I see, is Avesta going to have a chance to make the overtake, or is it going to have to come in the pit cycle, do you think?
I think it could be pit stops here. It can depend. If you stay out, and if you can get ahead, you maybe, unless you're overtaken when you're warming up your tyres, that's Leroy out of the race.
And it looks like we're not going to get a safety car for that. He's crashed at the Nouvelle Chicane. There's not really anyone nearby that can have a look at. I'll go on board with Seb Mills here, and he must have collected the the left-hand side wall coming out of the chicane. There's yellow flags. That's Jeroen Muller has crashed coming through. John, he's lost his entire front wing there. Big jeopardy on the racetrack. Yellow flags in sector 1 and sector 2. They've gone, so no safety car needed. But that's Jeroen Muller's chance at getting points gone realistically now. So he's having to nurse that broken AlphaTauri back to the pit lane. Big problems there as he was running in the top 10, and that's a shame for him. The AlphaTauri going to have to slowly make his way back to the pit lane now. And now he's got Luke Davies right on the back, who's going to hit the back of him there. Going to try and let the Mercedes through there, and good job letting him through as he now slides the car. Just struggling to get it back to the pits, and that's a real shame for the AlphaTauri driver, as a good chance of points has been thrown away there. Maybe there was contact with another car, I'm not too sure. But yeah, as I said before the race, we could see sort of some mix-up in this sort of battle for points, and the fact that Aaron, who's made a pit stop in this race, is already into 8th place and not going to make another pit stop in this race today, just shows that someone that perhaps is a little bit slower, taking into account a pit stop around here.
He's past Junior now.
He's gone for it and he's made it stick. Wow. Brilliant move there from Aaron. And he's continuing the progress up the order. But as I was saying before, it's the fact that he's been able to do this with his strategy. Oh, there's a car off, is that? That's Bourbion. Oh no, it isn't. It's his teammate in the other Haas car.
Alright, there's no mistake there.
Both are still good. Always big lag there, and yep, he has indeed left the session there. But yeah, we now have a bit of a group of cars backing up behind Kyle Albert here as they go through the hairpin. As Jeroen Muller has made it back to the pits, changing to the hard tyres. But as I was saying, the fact that Aaron McFall has got as high as he did in this race, 7th now, 7th in this race, despite making a pit stop. Let's say a pit stop's 20 seconds. Effectively, around here, you could be going a second and a lap slower than the pace if you sort of work out sort of how the fact that Aaron's had to do a pit stop, which is about 20 seconds. He's lost 20 seconds in the first 10 laps and is now running 7th. You could be a second and a half a lap off the pace and be running comfortably in the top 10 at the moment, which I think just shows as that's a contact with the wall there for Kyle Albert. He has hit the wall exiting the swimming pool and now has Teo right behind him as they both tap the wall coming out of the Rascasse and now making their way onto the straight, but a big snap there for Teo is going to cost him any chance of making the overtake on this lap.
Yeah, not too bad. And for Legend here, now to be thinking, when do I make my stop? Because I think he needs to know if he can clear Juan Hernandez, because if he doesn't, then he might find a little bit of trouble.
Certainly there. It's getting interesting here in this battle, because Aaron catching a couple of cars. Got Juan here sitting 12, nearly 13 seconds off. And then you've got the leaders, as you say, this is really starting to become an interesting situation. Is that Jeroen Miller into the pits to retire the car from the race? A shame there for him. Is that one of the McLarens into the pits?
Yes, it is Lewis.
It is indeed. Changes his tyres over to the hard compound there. So let's see, where is he going to come out? Is this perhaps to cover off Aaron? It looks like it may well be here, as he's going to exit the pit lane, and I believe will be comfortably ahead of the Alfa Romeo. He's going to be the first one of the front contenders to roll the dice, and he is going to be way ahead of the Alfa Romeo, so it doesn't look like it's going to work out today for Aaron McFall.
No, it looks like it was a gamble worth taking, but it's not a gamble that will have any bonus to it.
As we see a bit of drama there coming up the hill, as the AlphaTauri of Gift has had to avoid his retired teammate's car, and so did Jake Marsh as they came up the hill. So that was a unnecessary bit of drama for those two as they look to be battling away for this 8th position now in the Monaco Grand Prix. Jake right on the back of the AlphaTauri. And so now, thankfully, Jeroen Miller's car has pulled off the side of the racetrack, so don't have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, this battle for 8th looks like it could be heating up now, as the hard tyres on Jake's Ferrari do look to be performing a little bit better than the mediums attached to Gift at the moment. But yes, now it's another car in the pits. Who is that? Is that one of the top cars? Nope, it's Seb Mills in the pits there, who is... must be... Oh no, bit of lag there, that's why. So yeah, he is in the pits and he's had a tough day today. He makes his way out of the pits just in front of one of the lead lap cars. But Legend now with a 10-second lead over Tyler. Big gap now for Legend. It's going to take some dreadful luck, realistically, to cost him this win today. But, you know, in Monaco, the walls are always there. The cars are always around you. It's not going to be easy here for him. He can't relax around these streets. So he makes his way through to back there. You just see the speeds they're going on in such a small space. You really can never relax around this circuit. It really is like no other.
Yeah, you do not get a breather here unless you're under a safety car. But even then, even the great Michael Schumacher wasn't able to take a breather in a safety car without ending up in a wall in 2004. That's Tyler in the pits. We're going to have to see where he comes out here.
No
if
wing
Lewis
change.
has the pace, then it's very possible that he would be able to jump Tyler, but Tyler looks like he's getting out fairly comfortably here. Or is he?
Going to be close.
As we watch you, Tyler, he's now able to go as quick as he likes. But now Lewis coming round. He's close, but not close enough. Maybe one more lap and he would have got him. I mean, one lap earlier.
I think you'd have to say that the tyre warm-up period has really allowed...
Oh no, he could still get him.
Is he going to look for it into Mirabeau? He's going to look for the move, but it's going to back out of it.
Oh, Tyler's went deep. He's always went for a dive at a hairpin. And he's to manage to keep it. They've done alright here. If they could just... the aggressive there from Tyler, but he managed to keep the position, so... But now Lewis, he's burned all the DRS, he's both flashing red, he's right down the inside, and he's spun him, and that's just a desperation move. I think that one will be penalised. Came from too far back.
That's a shame. Tyler did nothing wrong in that scenario. It's a bit like Verstappen and Hamilton in 2019, as Vesta has come into the pits now.
I think Vesta's got P2 here. Because of all that fighting, and Lewis will probably be penalised for that, I would assume.
Definitely, yeah. But it's just like Verstappen and Hamilton. But the difference is, of course, in the game, the contact isn't the same as real life. And I think Tyler had already fully committed to the corner. I don't think he saw that move coming, and instead he sort of put his trust in Lewis not to make that move, because that was not quite close enough, really. Just a front wing to rear wheel, and all went wrong very quickly. But yeah, Vesta up into a net second place here, so that's gone well for his championship hopes. Will only lose 7 points to Legend, who is, I believe, as I go to my notes, Legend is currently sitting 52 points behind Avesta in the championship, so that is only 7 points taken out. That's still a 45-point lead, as Legend is now into the pit lane. No need for him to risk anything in this race, just pit when he feels like it. And yeah, will come out of the pits and should be well ahead of Juan Hernandez, who could definitely cause some problems for the drivers behind him. But I imagine he'll be in the pits fairly soon as well here, of course, starting on those medium tyres. He'll be due for a pit stop soon, as let's see, will he come into the pits this time? No, he's going to stay out again. He's going to play some games with the leaders, as Avesta will catch up to the back of him, followed closely by Lewis McWilliam, as Tyler Davison is now 5.5 seconds behind this battle for the podium. But if Lewis does get a penalty, as I think we're both expecting, he's not out of the fight for a podium here, especially if Lewis gets held up a little bit here.
Yes, Juan Hernandez could hand Tyler a way back into this through simply by being there. He hasn't bid yet, so he's probably going to go on here and see what happens. Because, well, if he gets lucky here, maybe a safety car might come out. Is a little far-fetched here, but we don't know. Could happen.
I see them go into the Nouvelle Chicane now. One has managed to stay ahead for now, which means these guys are going to start to get really backed up as you see Lewis spin the rears. It's getting quite spicy here, I think it's fair to say. As these drivers are going to have to start worrying a little bit, as look at how close Avesta is. He's going to go for a move. No, he can't risk it because he knows if he attempts a move and it goes wrong, that'll be the position to Lewis. But Juan comes into the pits. Avesta will be very thankful of that, as now he pulls away with the extra help of DRS down the main straight. He is back up into second place overall, with Lewis just behind him. Tyler in fourth, ahead of Juan, who's in the pits. Juan will come out a couple positions further down. He'll come up behind Aaron, crucially, who will be someone he'll be in the same race with. He's going to come up behind his teammate as well, and also Thomas Main, who is also going to the end of this race. So this is going to be close now on the exit of the pit lane. And he's got him.
Close. Thomas has got it. Only thing is, so Thomas will start to struggle a bit, and well, Juan would. I don't think he'll be too afraid to try.
Aaron has tried the same move that he put on another driver, and his Legend spun. Legend spun as well. It's all gone wrong on the same moment. Legend's kept the car going, but Aaron's tried the same move that he put on Bourbion. This time with Chloe. Chloe wasn't having it. She turned in, and they banged wheels and sent Chloe straight on into the barriers down at Mirabeau. Drama here, and it all happens in one go. It likes to really keep us busy, as Aaron is involved in an incident there. Controversial, I think, to say the least. That, I'm sure, will anger Chloe, to say no more, because she is not going to be happy at all with that. That's potentially going to cost her a good chance of points here today. That wing damage, and also all that time lost in the barrier reversing out of it. But Aaron, I'm sure, will say, look, he made the same move on Bourbion, and that move went well. It comes down to who he's racing that caused the problem, but I'm sure they'll argue that long into the night tonight. But Aaron up into fifth place now, and Jake, as you say, is in the pits and is changing his front wing, so he's picked up some damage at some point during the race. And Chloe also in the pits here as well. But yeah, that's a lot of drama here, as Aaron, you could see him getting so close to the back of
Aaron's at the wall there a little bit. I think he's alright, but just something to note.
He's certainly pushing the limits. I wouldn't be too surprised. But yeah, Legends lead now just 8 seconds after that spin. Looks like he kept it going quite quickly, so he didn't lose too much time. But yeah, trying to do a spin and win by the looks of things, as he is now 8 seconds ahead of Avesta, who is a second ahead of Lewis, who is 4 seconds ahead of Tyler. So if we say Lewis does get a 5-second penalty, Tyler currently within range to profit from that. So Tyler has to push hard until the end here. He cannot back off at all, and will be absolutely on the limit. Aaron up into 5th, which is where he was at the end of lap 1 before that pit stop. So, and he's pitting. Aaron's into the pits. Has he picked up damage? Did you see him pick up some damage here? Let's see. Maybe he got something in the incident with Chloe, as Aaron makes his way into the pit stop. Let's see, what are they going to do? Is there going to be a change of front wing here? There is indeed. Aaron, change of front wing, and the strategy has not been successful. We already had seen that it wasn't going to be a victory like, of course, in Season 5, but now it's going to be, well, going to be back end of the points at best here today, as Aaron will leave the pits in, well...
Could get caught behind Junior here, and he's caught behind Junior, and, maybe not. I don't know, Junior has just about got him, so he needs to take advantage of the warm tyres here for maybe the first sector or two, and just make a little of a gap. But now Aaron's got a bit of a task ahead of him,
We've
although
got a
Junior is
battle
his
going on here,
friends.
sorry to interrupt, between Bob Bune and Chloe Glennon. That nearly ended in tears down in turn 1. They banged wheels coming up the hill. These two aren't happy with each other for whatever reason. Bob Bune is already shown today he's not going to get pushed around. Will he go for the move into Mirabah? No, he's going to stay behind here. But that's definitely going to be one to look at later in the race. But let's head back up here to the Aaron versus Gift battle. I'll head back over to you there. Sorry for interrupting.
So, Chloe, she was on for a very, very good result, as it it could have been very much a decent point when we finish, but should probably be another annoyed Aaron for that. As Aaron, well, he passed Junior, so that mission complete there in that case. He's now effectively, well, once he laps the Haas, it's pretty much 20 seconds to the next car of Luke Davies.
It's going to be quite possibly quite a quiet race now for him. As Jake Marsh into the pits again. Has he broken his wing? Yes, he has. He's gone to the softs now. It's a shame there for Jake. That's his chance of points gone now. Maybe he can hope for fastest lap. But I think that's all he can get now in this race. But yeah, I think Gift let Aaron through. Aaron looked like he was going to get side-by-side going into Rascat, and I think Junior didn't want to risk it, knew that he was going to lose the position, so didn't take the risk and let the Alfa Romeo driver through, and up into 8th place there on those fresh medium tyres.
Yeah, so now he's got a lot of space for him now ahead. So, well, Juan Hernandez, he's closing on Thomas Main, but obviously Monaco is one of the toughest circuits to overtake, and Thomas Main is one of the toughest drivers to overtake. So, obviously, two negatives can make a positive, but probably not here. Yeah,
these two drivers we know aren't going to give up a fight easily. So with 14 lap fresher hard tyres, you don't have to be a genius to say that Juan is going to have much more pace than the Mercedes in front of him. But it's Monaco. Like you said, it's not easy to overtake here, and Thomas Main is certainly no easy driver to pass. So this is going to be an interesting battle to watch, I'm sure, as Juan Hernandez is reeling in the Mercedes with Thomas Main ahead of him, trying to get that top 5 position away from the Mercedes man. As you can see there, Mercedes on such worn tyres, he's really going to struggle into this race. So Juan is going to have a really tough situation, but at the same time it's going to be about sort of finding the best place. We've got yellow flags on the track. That doesn't look like anything's actually happened though, sadly. Not sadly, but it's a glitch rather than an incident, which I suppose is a good thing. Yeah, Juan going to have a tough job at getting past the Mercedes ahead of him. So it's going to be a tough few laps, still 15 laps to go in this race for Juan Hernandez. He's got a lot of time to prepare this move, but at the same time his tyres are still very fresh at the moment, so he's going to have to make this move whilst he feels like he's got a good advantage, because if his tyres start to go off a cliff, as once Thomas's have gone as well, whilst there still is that 15 lap difference, it's going to be, maybe it won't be, but at least in my mind it could definitely swing one of two ways. It'll either be easier for Juan to make the pass because Thomas Main's tyres will be even worse. As Seb Mills has crashed out of the Nouvelle chicane.
No.
And is in the wall down there.
He's right there on the blocking the racing line. So
contact! Juan's gone into the back of Thomas Main there because Thomas Main had to brake to avoid, and Juan is going to make the overtake. They're going to be side by side into the back. There's almost more contact. They're side by side into the swimming pool section. Will Juan back out? He's not going to back out. He's nearly had a big crash there as they make their way through the swimming pool section. Luckily, he managed to find his way onto the off the accelerator onto the brake. But more contact. This could end in tears here, as you see Juan spinning up the rear tyres. This has got drama written all over it.
Indeed, it does. Juan Hernandez he spotted an opportunity, tried to get past, was past for a brief moment, but then Thomas Main was able to use the inside line from the back to what became the outside at swimming pool, and Juan, he had to back out. He's tapped Thomas round. I think Probably a few frustrations boiling over now as they be someone thinking I need to use this advantage while I have it.
It's certainly getting to a point now where Juan is... You can see that he is pushing 100%. He's not holding anything back because Thomas cuts the chicane. I wonder what that'll do to this battle now.
That will mean Juan, he may become a little more patient.
I mean, yeah, to 20. Oh, is he in the wall there? He's very sideways going for the chicane, but equally Juan could well suddenly be on warnings as well here. But you know, it's a really tough situation to be in. You've got to say now that Thomas Main is defending for himself just as much as he is for his teammate, who is getting right into this battle as well because of how slow Thomas Main has been going. If they both end up getting penalties, because Juan is clearly pushing very hard to try and get this move done, if they both end up with penalties, if Luke Davies can get within range, he could gain from this as well. He could end up with that P5 position. So it's going to get exciting, certainly, to say the least, going into this final 13 laps of the race. Juan currently inside the lapped car there, and he just gets through them and clears his vision once again. The number 30 Ferrari right on the back of the Mercedes, and you can see there, Thomas struggling for grip, doing all he can to hold on to that Mercedes car, but it is certainly not going to be easy.
Yeah, especially when you have a Ferrari right in your mirrors, becoming a little bigger every lap, as with the Monaco being nearly a test of endurance as much as skill. You have to just be able to not get too bogged down by the fact that that Ferrari is getting probably a little bigger in your mirrors, and just keep your focus. You've got nothing else ready to gain that much ahead, so if you just try to solidify what is there, then that will be key. Although you have to watch, could lose another place here if Luke Davies is able to slip into side that 2-second margin, as Lewis has picked up a 3 seconds. 1 second gain for Tyler, and he will be in range regardless of whatever penalty Lewis might get.
Definitely that's given Tyler a bit extra reason to push, I'd say. Equally, maybe if he feels strongly about the incident, might have the opposite effect and say, you know what, instead of 5 seconds, I've got an 8-second gap. Of course, you know, penalties we're speculating in, nothing will be confirmed till long after the race when the stewards have a long look, so the results will be provisional, as they always are, but we'll obviously go with what the game says. But Tyler in his mind maybe going, you know what, that's an 8-second realistically now that he has to be within, so maybe he'll back it off a little bit. But equally, as they say, he might go, you know what, I can guarantee a podium if I gain a second, no matter what the stewards think. I can guarantee that podium if I gain a second on him, so it might fire him up a little bit. So it could go either way here for Tyler, as he is now closing a little bit to Lewis in front of him. As Juan, I saw him tap the wall quite a few times now, so I wouldn't be surprised if there might be some damage to the front of the Ferrari, which might explain why he's not quite as pressuring and menacing in the mirrors of the Mercedes ahead of him. But still, interesting here. We've got 4 retirements in this race so far. Fun fact for you all is that Monaco has the highest average life expectancy of any nation in the world. It is clearly not the same in-game, where it certainly doesn't have the highest average finishes of all of the drivers in the race, because, well, it is known for its attrition very much around these streets. Not easy, as we've got battles further down the order here.
Dune and Chloe, they're ghosting through each other here. Chloe has got the position back now and keeps the P12.
Strange little moment there, but Borbune right on the back of the Williams driver, and looking to try and get up into that 12th position, because, as I just said, the attrition is quite high here. Battling over 12, you might think at most tracks that doesn't really matter that much, but it's easily possible, as we've seen lots of... I mean, we saw moments ago, we nearly saw both Thomas Main and Juan Hernandez crash into each other whilst battling side by side through the swimming pool. As we do now have yellow flag in sector 3.
That is the hassle of sipped one.
Not a great debut for them here today. I don't know if it is their debut actually, but I believe it may well be. One of their first races, at least, in the Haas car. They're not having the race they would have wanted, but yeah, it's in the battle for 12th. It could well be a points position by the end of this race, so you have to fight for it as if it is, realistically. So yeah, it's interesting stuff here. Juan still right on the back of Thomas. If he does have damage, it's certainly not showing anymore because he is all over the back of the Mercedes car ahead of him. And this could be the lap where he goes for it. Let's go on board with the Ferrari. He's going to go to the outside of the Nouvelle chicane. Brakes later. Can he turn in? There's surely going to be some rubbing here as they go side by side. It's a 3-second time penalty for Juan as he makes the move. Can he make a stick? Oh, there's contact. He swipes across the front of the Mercedes. But Juan Hernandez is up into 5th place now. Both of these two with penalties. Juan, I don't think will mind. It's a 27-second gap in front. So all he has to do is pull free. We didn't even have to pull 3 seconds to Thomas because Thomas has that penalty as well. So Juan just needs to drive his own race now and try and break free of Thomas because, well, I mean, if I was Thomas, I would not be pleased at all with that overtake. Not in a dreadful way. It wasn't a particularly too aggressive, but it certainly was an aggressive move, which, you know, around Monaco it has to be. But let's face it, Thomas in the Mercedes is not going to be Juan's biggest fan at this moment. So if he gets the chance to pass him back, I'm sure he will take every opportunity to do just that. But Juan at the moment looking like he's pulling that gap back up now with those much, much fresher hard tyres.
Well, that will be Juan's job, and he's got to know, look, Luke Davies is within range of Thomas Main and Juan Hernandez, so you would have to say he could be the biggest benefactor of all this. It could land him a potential P5 here.
Definitely with Thomas, because they've got slightly similar lives of their tyres at the moment. So that's going to be an interesting one there, because in theory Luke will be able to match the pace of Thomas with fresher tyres. He should be able to go quicker. And so it's going to have Aaron McFall in this fight as well on those medium tyres. It's just when we thought the battle might be dying down, the Mercedes drivers are probably going to try and work together here, slipstream each other, DRS each other to make sure that Aaron doesn't get past them. But Luke, without a penalty, he can definitely get sick here today. And if anything goes wrong for Juan, which we've seen he's pushing hard, he may well quieten down a little bit now, but if anything does go wrong for him, he'll be right back in range of penalties of Luke as well. So it's really interesting here, and if Aaron can try and get past these Mercedes cars quickly, he can get up there with Juan as well, because he's got very fresh medium tyres. We see side-by-side racing into turn 1 here. It's Teo versus Gift as they go through turn 1. Nice and clean, lovely stuff there, and Gift is up into 10th place ahead of the Alfa Romeo on equal tyres here, so this is a straight fight as they make their way up through the top of the hill. As now we've got a swap of position here between the Mercedes cars. Aaron's going to try and put it in there. Oh, that's a bold move, to say the least, I think. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it is a bold move. Maybe Thomas might say he overtook me off track, but Aaron will say I was only there because you made me go there. So it will be probably a little contentious one, Thomas. You know, you can only think about 2 people in that chicane. You're at a track where you don't really usually overtake. But now, all that's happened here is Aaron now has an opportunity to maybe get back to where he could have, or well, he should be, based on his pace. But
if Aaron somehow managed to pull out a P5 from this race, it would be quite the drive, because he started third, he pit to P5, trying a different, well, he dropped to P5, sorry, after a bad start. Then pit to try a different strategy. When that strategy played out, it ended up him being in 5th place. But then either he got wing damage, so he had to pit again for a set of mediums. If he still ends up in 5th place, you sort of say it's meant to be. If he still somehow, after all of that, tries so many different things and ends up in 5th place, I don't think he can complain too much about that. But yeah, he's going to have to make the move on both Luke and Juan Hernandez ahead of him, though. With those medium tyres, in theory, he should have the pace, but he hasn't got long left in this race, just 6 laps left at the end of this one, so he's going to have to make these moves quickly. Let's have a quick look at the penalties, so we have an idea of what everyone's got, and it is 3 seconds for all these guys battling out in the points. Got a couple of guys with more than that further down the order, but up at the front it is all 3 seconds, other than those, of course, that don't have any at all, which, of course, are Legend, Avesta, Tyler, Luke, and as Chloe gets another one, and then, of course, Gift in 10th place is the last of the drivers in the top 10 without a penalty at the moment. Oh, there's a big slide there for Aaron at the top of the hill, coming down the hill there towards Mirabeau. And how he did not crash then, I do not know. As Tyler's just got a 3-second time penalty there, so that's one less driver without one. So we're probably getting to that point of the race, I suppose.
Oh, where that makes it even for them now.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And they have really closed up, so that was quite a big factor. He was going to get the position. But we probably have reached that point in the race where even the drivers that have really managed the race well and have really limited the amount of warnings, it's just that point in the race where even the best are starting to struggle that little bit. As speaking of struggling, Aaron is struggling with the rear end of that Alfa Romeo, despite having those medium tyres on, being in theory better than the hards. I think maybe they're starting to get to the end of their lifespan, as he finds himself in a tough situation, as Teo has got past Gift for 10th place and the final points paying position now. And he's not too far back from Kyle Albert, 7 tenths, and he'll be within 3 seconds of him. And Kyle, with that penalty, will mean that it'll be doubling Teo's points tally from this race. I do have yellow flags on the racetrack. That's a Ferrari going slowly, is it?
Jake Marsh, I think.
Not been his day today, as he is going very slow, and he's lost... Oh, no, he hasn't, just letting some cars through by the looks of things. We've got a change of position up front. Tyler has got past Lewis. Has that been a coordinated change to sort of say, listen, if I let you through, will you not give me a pen? Will you not report me after the race? That's the only thing I could suggest here. Maybe Lewis wants to have a proper crack at this.
Would be a mistake here, probably. I would say.
Definitely one or two ways of the strain. Sort of came out of nowhere there. Junior's lost. Gift's lost another position as he's pitting for a new front wing there. So that's why Gift's struggling a little bit now. He's pit down to 12th place, and that should be where he comes out. But out of the points, which then promotes Chloe up into 11th, and Teo now up in 10th there, as he made the overtakers as he makes his way through the hairpin. But battle's quite close on track. Aaron still on the back of the Mercedes, and I think he needs to make this move in a lap or two if he wants to get on to that 5th place. It's a massive snap. Those tyres really must be gone.
He's not making the move just there now, anyways. I think for now, I think Luke's happy to stay where he is. At the moment, he is going to gain a place on Juan Hernandez. And that should be a very good result for him, despite that little escapade earlier on in the race, which meant he lost time and then had to pit earlier than he probably wanted to.
Speaking of pitting, Lewis McWilliam is into the pits now. Is there a wing change? No, there isn't. So he's going to go for soft tyres, and he's got the gap behind. Looks like he's going to go for the fastest lap in this race. Trying something different. Lewis is going to go for fastest lap. Who currently has the fastest lap? Should we have a look? It is currently Aaron with an 11.8 in 7th place. So that is the lap time that Lewis will have to try and beat.
Well, Lewis, he's got out well away from anyone else, so should be able to, at least for his sake, claim another point, although Jake has just tried to do that. 11.3. You might see some others trying a pit stop soon enough here.
Thomas Main in the pits here. He'll be comfortably ahead of Kyle Albert when he exits. He's going to unlock the car and make his way down at the pit exit, making his way through the little shortcut they have down at turn 1. And now he'll be the next driver to attempt fast lap in this race. Got a few contenders for it, keeps it exciting all the way to the end here. Jake Marsh currently with an 11.3, but we now got quite a few drivers out on the fresh, soft tyres, trying something a little bit different, going for fast lap, trying to get that extra 1 point. Even though it may not mean much, 1 point, it can be the difference between a championship and not a championship. It can always be the difference between a position and not getting a position in the championship. So going for every last point is always crucial, as Aaron gets another 3-second time penalty, which now means he will not be able to get any higher than 7th in this race. So he will be locked into that place. Even if he does make some overtakes, he will be 7th, although he's getting very close to the back of Luke Davies. Now he's got those penalties, he might risk it. Is he going to go to the inside of turn 1? He's going to stay behind for now. It's getting close, though.
Oh, so close. Try up to Massenet and see more Rivage. It's so close, but it's just so hard to judge it, or even get the run there in a way.
Will he make another Mirabeau move? We've seen him do that before. He's going to go down the inside of Luke Davies. Will there be contact? There's a little bit of banging of wheels there as they make their way through Mirabeau. As now to the hairpin, it's side by side. Aaron almost into the wall. Can go all the way around the outside of the hairpin. Brilliant move there. up into 6th place. Luke put up as much of a fight as he could, but those hard tyres just didn't seem to have any life left in them, which I think is fair enough when you've done 29 laps on them.
Yeah, I suppose, Aaron, you've had to make a move at some point. Let's see, with penalties, Juan Hernandez should not want to worry about Aaron McFall himself. But he will still have to think about Luke Davies. Oh, but Aaron's made a mistake. There is an oversteer, and I think that's going to cost him any chance. Unless he's got damage to a pace advantage, which I don't think he has.
I mean this in the nicest possible way, but it is a miracle that Aaron is going to finish this race. He has been well and truly in the wars in this one. He's definitely put on a show for us. He's kept this race extremely enthralling. And well, he's I don't think there's been a single lap he hasn't pushed 110%. I love it. I do. His new fast lap there from Thomas Main just barely beats the fastest lap that Lewis McWilliam put in. So those two are probably going to have to go for round 2 here in that little scrap for fast lap. But it is now the final lap of the race here in Monaco. Up for the race leader Legend, who makes his way through Mirabeau now. He's let's see, how much of the field has he lapped? He's lapped up to he lapped. It's show. Oh no, I've gone fastest lap. That's why.
I think he's lapped Thomas Main.
He's lapped up to. Is it Jake? I'm sorry. It might. Usually it says 1 lap, so I'm a bit confused here.
Lapped up to Thomas Main. Anyone else who's ahead there of Legend is either already lapped and could be lapped again, or they haven't been lapped yet. But I think Legend is coming round now. He's led here from pretty much start to finish. It's been 39 laps of domination, and so for the 2nd time this season and the 3rd time at Monaco, Legend Rosenberg strides to a halt and does his few celebratory donuts, and he will now cross the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix.
You know you've been dominant when you have time to do some donuts before you finish, eh? What a drive there from him, and I think if you're going to celebrate like that, you have to put in a performance of that level, which I think is fair enough he did.
Will take 2nd. Tyler takes 3rd as he hits a Alfa Romeo there. Alteo, I believe. Lewis now coming around the final couple of corners. He will take a P4. Is he not with fast lap? That does belong to Thomas Main. But he will take the points there. Juan Hernandez, he has done the job, I believe. He has managed to get the gap over Luke Davies, who staunched defence of that P6 into an end. He will get out penalties. Juan wins P5, Aaron P6. Luke gets P6 then on penalties. Aaron drops down to P7. Thomas May now, who had fastest lap, he will take P8 as the last car to not be lapped. Obviously Legend's Donuts allowed him to unlap himself and be finished on the lead lap. Let's see, Theo, Kyle complete the points. Chloe P11, Junior P12, Puppy P13. Now it's just Jake and Tom who will complete the racing here for us tonight.
Yeah, it's certainly wasn't a boring race here today in Monaco, as Monaco often is given that sort of attribute as a boring race, but I think today proved that wrong. At least in league racing, it can produce some brilliant racing, and we had drama, we had overtakes. We may not have had a battle for the win, but you don't always need it. If we had a battle in every race, it would be boring, you know. So I think the fact that we could enjoy the battles further down the order, it shows that there's so much talent in the field. The fact that we had 15 drivers finish the race shows that. Compared to previous seasons, that really is brilliant. And I really have to commend all the drivers who did stick with it and finish this race, especially those that had some tougher races, and of course those that did it so quickly. It really is impressive, everyone that stuck with it, whether they were doing well or struggling. It is so impressive to finish a 39 lap race around Monaco. And, you know, it sounds simple in theory, but so many times in previous seasons we have seen a lot of drivers struggle to do that sort of first task, which is of course always to finish. That is step one in league racing and in all racing. The first thing you have to do is finish. And once you do that, from then on you can build up, and it really is I'm proud to see so many drivers finishing this race, and I'm glad to have had the opportunity to commentate on it alongside you here today, Brendan.
Yeah, it has been nice to have you alongside. Evan will be back next week, but I think we got a fairly good replacement for him this week.
Thank you very much. Hopefully, I'm sure all the fans will be glad to hear Evan's back for next week, but it was nice to stand in from here this week, and I'm glad that the drivers did not disappoint in what was an exciting race, as Legend takes the win for McLaren ahead of Avesta, who limits the damage to the championship with a second place. Tyler completes the podium in third after starting second. Lewis, with some drama in the race, ends up in fourth ahead of Juan Hernandez in fifth, who put in some brilliant final sort of few laps in that race to build the gap to Lightning Luke by only 2 tenths of a second ahead of Luke there. Then it is Aaron in 7th, who put on a show for us all day long. Then it is, of course, Thomas Main in 8th, who gets the fast lap at the end just by 15 milliseconds quicker than that lap done by Lewis McWilliams. So really impressive there from Thomas Main, who gets the fast lap point for today's event.
Well, that is Monaco for you. A bit chaotic, but for everyone who got their points, they'll know they earned them points.
Indeed, it's one of those tracks where afterwards you feel worn out, but you feel like you deserve a rest after finishing a race around Monaco. Sometimes you finish a race and you think, I'm worn out, but should I really feel worn out after that race? It wasn't that tiring, but around Monaco you deserve a rest after Monaco. Go have a shower, have a relax, and enjoy the evening here today. But that is it for Formula Virtual Racing today. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as we did here in the commentary box. I really did love this opportunity, so thank you again very much to Evan and of course Brendan for giving me this chance. And well, next week, do you know what track it is next week, Brendan?
France, and that will be the first ever Formula Virtual Racing Sprint. Ooh. So make sure to tune in for that, and also FVRA. So you will see FVR with sprint racing first ever time. Obviously, it will have the usual sprint race point system as well, so should be all good.
Very exciting for next week then, so make sure all of you, if you enjoyed this one, make sure you definitely tune in and tell your friends about it. Get us all watching Formula Virtual Racing next week, where Evan and Brendan will be your commentators again, and we'll have the first ever Formula Virtual Racing Sprint, so make sure not to miss out. But that is it for today here. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, goodbye.